boxed menu screen music here. All right, kicking off PC block with some Assault Android Cactus. I am MrBond. You just saw me and Boris try some Double Dragon 2 runs. Didn't go well. But now we're into the PC stuff. We are into my domain. Assault Android Cactus, the best game you've probably never heard of. This is a twin-stick shooter, very much in the vein of Robotron and Smash TV. So this is the first of 3 Cactus runs you will be seeing today. This is the 1P campaign run, the most common speedrun category for the game, of course. And later on we'll be seeing a 4-player campaign run, and then a 1-player Infinity Drive run around midnight tonight, which is going to be a blast. Because it's a very fun mode and a very unreliable mode. Very not marathon safe, but hey, we'll get to it when we get to it. So, are we ready for time here? Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Go, 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 go. Let's do it. Let's do it. So, Assault Android Cactus, top-down, twin-stick shooter. Lots of stuff going on here. First of all, let's talk about character choice. I am playing as Aubergine. She's got that spinny orange helo as her primary weapon, and a secondary, which I should be using already, a black hole gun. Sucks enemies in and damages the one closest to the center of it. We are starting off in the very first zone. This is the cargo hold. We're heading on an elevator down into the core of the ship, the Genki Star. Now, the overarching story to this is that the bunch of the robots on this massive cargo ship have gone berserk. It's your job to figure out how, why, and just kind of take care of the problem in whatever way you see fit, which in this case turns out to be destroying all the robots. That's what we are going to do. So the first zone is going to go by very quickly, and I've got a lot to talk about, so don't mind my chattering. One active challenge that's going on for me here. I will donate $5 for every down that I take, so if I could have the audience help, the tech and the host help keep track of that, that would be nice, because I got a lot on my mind already. But if, for some reason, I manage to do the miracle run, no downs, I will kick in $100. So we'll see where that leads us today. This is level 2. This is Turbine. A pretty static level as far as level design is concerned. It doesn't really change up. We're not going down an elevator like we were on the first level. But it'll pretty much be just this circle. So what really makes Cactus a great speedrunning game is that there's absolutely no RNG. None whatsoever. Everything is deterministic, and you can manipulate just about everything. Pretty much the one thing you'll probably want to get good at is manipulating enemy spawns. I'm not very good at it, which makes me a not great speedrunner at this game, but it's a lot of fun anyways. So as long as I move and shoot in the exact same way every time, I can manipulate where the enemies spawn and pretty much how they move. Which would make a task of this game really interesting, but nobody's put together one. If I was able to, I would. It'd be a fun challenge, I think. I'm just not up on that at all. As far as the game mechanics are concerned, you typically see in twin-stick shooters and bullet hells in general a life system. You don't have lives. You can get knocked down as many times as you so choose. However, in its place is the battery meter top center there. As long as that has even a shred of battery in it, I can take as many downs as I'd like. A full meter is worth about a minute, but you refill it by getting battery pickups. You've probably seen a couple as we've gone through the first couple levels here. You also see some other HUD elements on the top left. That's my health gauge. You get 5 hits, and then the next hit will knock you down. You also see a white meter under that. That's my primary weapon power, which fills up by picking up these little white energy crystals things called volts from any destroyed enemy. There are 4 different levels of the primary weapon, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Or excuse me, 0, 1, 2, and 3, I can count. That's 4. And each one adds a little bit of power. For Aubergine, you'll see Helo's radius expand. It's pretty much the main gimmick for her. Weapon level does not affect your secondary. Secondary is always kind of the same amount of power, regardless of what your weapon energy is at. So really the primary strat, at least in the beginning, is to make judicious use of your secondary until you can power up your primary. And then, of course, to use your secondary in good spots. That was actually a pretty good spot there. So sorry, that was level 3. That was Filament. The main gimmick there was the lights flickering on and off between enemy phases. blazed past it so quickly I couldn't even explain it. This is level 4. This is Capacitor. You'll see this is another morphing level, so you see the walls kind of dropping out. Things will open up even more later on. This is also the final normal level in Zone 1. 5 zones, 4 normal levels, and a boss in each zone. We'll be seeing the first boss very, very shortly here. But each zone kind of has its own unique aesthetic. Since we're in kind of the cargo hold, we're seeing a lot of industrial themes, a lot of rust, dirt, oil, dark tones, that sort of thing. When we get to Zone 2, that will change quite a bit. We'll cover that when we get there. As far as all the bullets that are on screen, there are 3 different attack types in this game. The blue stuff, so most of the enemy bullets, will only hit me. They will not be able to hit each other. The orange stuff, the stuff that I'm shooting here, will only hit enemies. And a later, well, actually a damage type that we're seeing right now with these mines that these big dudes are shooting, have a red damage type, which will hurt both me and enemies. That's a pretty reasonable capacitor for while I was talking. And you'll see that play out in various enemy forms as we go. But here's the first boss. Don't blink or you'll miss him. This is Embryo. Everybody say hi, Embryo. There we go. Good crowd response there. We're just going to take our time. Now, bosses are a little bit different. You see his energy meter on the bottom there. 6 segments for Embryo. So we get 6 different phases, 6 different attack patterns for him. And after every phase, he drops a battery for us. It's very kind of him. He doesn't have to do that, but he does anyways. So now we're on phase 3. Dumps a bunch of missiles. By phase 3. Then phase 4, he's getting kind of mad now. He's got something to say to us, but we don't want to talk to him, so by phase 4. And then phase 5, he's getting kind of desperate. He doesn't like how things are going. But you know what? We really don't care. By phase 5. And then phase 6. True desperation sets in. Bullets and rockets and everything he's got, but we don't care about that. Bye phase 6, bye Embryo. We hardly knew you. And that's the extent of Zone 1. Zone 2, brand new aesthetic. Lots of glass, lots of nice polished metal, very pleasing to the eye. However, we also start to see some new enemy types, one of which is appearing right now. Oh god, not the bees! These are the wasps. Very weak, but they tend to cluster around you and you can take it down before you can even blink sometimes. So let's be careful of those. We'll be seeing plenty of wasps throughout this entire zone. Kind of the typical cannon fodder enemies you've been seeing. These white and green walkers are called kegs. Pretty standard enemy. They try to make their way towards you. The white ones shoot a 3-round burst at you and then kind of toddle their way over. The green ones just go straight for the melee. Or the melee, depending on how you want to pronounce it. And here comes a bunch of wasps. So I'm playing as Aubergine, my very favorite character, and she can just tear through all these. This good old salad shooter Hilo is on the job. Taking care of them wasps for us. The white flyers you see there are called drones. We'll be seeing a red variant of those in a later level. We've also seen a couple big keg variants, the big jumbo kegs. Those are red as well. And these big boys that are dropping in, these absolute units, are Titans. There are 3 different variants of those. We have only seen the ones that toss mines at us. Dangerous, but not all that threatening. We'll be seeing 2 more variants of those coming up, which are less pleasant, shall we say. Starting off right away in Zone 2, the levels get quite a bit longer, so we got more time to talk about stuff. Okay, Hive, I guess. But rolling into level 2. Now this is one of the more dynamic levels. You'll see kind of the ground shift out from underneath us. It'll transform into almost an entirely different level as we move along here. That was not a good black hole that trapped those dudes behind the wall. Another thing I can bring up is the power-ups. You'll see them drop after we kill a certain number of enemies. And the power-up cycles, like every other cycle in this game, like the enemy spawns, the enemy waves, etc., are all fixed to a global timer. So as soon as the level starts, those power-ups start a cycling. And I missed that one because the level changed up. That's right. So power-ups will always cycle from red to yellow to blue, and then back again. The various power-ups we have, I just picked up a firepower that gives me a couple drones on either side. Help me out with some covering machine gun fire. By far my favorite, and by far the most useful for just about every playable character here. The yellows, which I will probably pick up as a safety strat at some point. We'll just pick up now, why not? With Accelerate, you move a whole bunch faster. You also attract the weapon power-ups to you, and you also resist a little bit of damage as well. I think it's every third damage you would have taken you don't take when you've got yellow. And the final power-up is a blue. We'll just grab one here. Is a shutdown that freezes every enemy on the screen, causes them to take double damage, and refills your health. So definitely an emergency item, however, quite useful near the end of the level when you want to kill stuff fast. So that was Influx. We'll be seeing more morphing levels as we go on. Here's Oxygen, the third level of Zone 1, or Zones, not Zone 1, Zone 2. They're going so fast, I'm skipping zones. But nothing too exciting about this level, other than I'm going to try to stay in the lower half, just so we don't get weird spawns kind of in the upper half of the level. So here's Titan number 2. This is the Blaster Titan. They shoot that red wave of energy. If you recall, red damage damages them as well. We're also seeing some Fidos. They're shooting some rockets that after... Ooh, that was a dangerous move. Oh, alright, sorry, I had to reset myself a little bit there. We've also seen some Fidos. They shoot rockets which after a few seconds will target and land. Those also cause red damage, so they can destroy stuff for you if you are very lucky. They can also land on your head. It's pretty much an instant KO, which is less pleasant. Seeing a bunch of red kicks as well. Beefy boys. Lots of beefy boys. We'll see different variants of the Fidos as well later on. These are actually the most pleasant variants, despite the fact that they're shooting rockets at you. But whatever, we deal with what we get. Lots more absolute units. That was very scary. But we did it. Did it without taking it down.
Go team! Shut down.
Shut down, Aubergine. That's right. So, this is probably my least favorite of Zone 2. This is Process. And as you can tell, there are conveyor belts. And I do not like the conveyor belts. They move stuff around. They affect your movements. They take batteries away from you. And they are just a general pain in the butt. So we're going to try to stay off of those as much as we can. We're going to try to keep enemies off of them as much as we can as well. But they will change direction, they will change speed, and we'll see another variant of the conveyor belt later on in Zone 3, which are even worse than these, if you can think of it. Just kind of play this level out. It's the longest level of Zone 2. Deal with some beefy boys here. So there's a lot more mechanics surrounding the battery, which will be more important when we get to the Infinity Drive run early tomorrow. So I'll probably cover those when we get to it. Surrounding when batteries drop and how much they give you and all that sort of thing. Ooh, that was good placement. My goodness. So I talked briefly about enemy spawn locations and how they're fixed. However, since it's based on your movements, and this is a very precisely moved game, it's the right term for it, you can get a whole lot of different patterns spawning in. And especially if you're near walls or other places where enemies cannot spawn, they will change up their patterns on you a little bit. But I gotta be careful about that. Say hello to the Zone 2 boss. This is Vespula. Thank you, crowd. Vespi, as I like to call her, amongst other not safe for stream terms, is kind of a pain. Her odd-numbered phases are these wasp phases where she surrounds herself in wasps, which is super not great. And then she's got the kind of the body phases where she comes out, tries to give us some business, but we're like, no, you get out of here. And then we're back to another wasp phase for phase 3. And despite there being no RNG, it feels like these wasp phases are RNG. So if I take some silly downs here, oh, that was scary. I'm going to blame the RNG. We'll leave that power up for final phase, I think. I'm not going to go over there. There was another body phase. We had those weird vines coming out. Not a good time. Can we get a firepower there? Would be real nice. Yep, there we go. Watching the edge. And, alright, this'll do. I'm taking this real slow and safe because a Vespi down is no fun for anybody. We're going to take the coward. Grab a little shutdown. Bye, Vespi. Thank you for cooperating today. But yeah, so that's Zone 2. We are headed into Zone 3. This is the security zone. We'll see a lot of blues, a lot of dark shades, still pretty clean metals. And if you notice on the walls behind us, we got a good old waveform going there. That will match the music. And the Zone 3 music, if I'm allowed to express an opinion, is by far the best. So if I start a humming and a bopping to it, do not be surprised. So this is level 1 of Zone 3. This is Checkpoint. Quite different from the levels we've seen before. This is a very linear level, so instead of being in an arena, we are trying to get to the end. Now the win condition for every level is always the same. Destroy all the robots. However, the spawn points on this are kind of tied to where you are in the level. So we do still need to make it to the end, even if we kill all the robots, because they just won't spawn after a while. And this kind of middle, very straight hallway section is interesting. It'll keep going forever until you kill all of the enemies in it. So we could, if we had an accelerate, we could rush on for probably 10 or 12 segments and not get anywhere as far as the level progression is concerned. So we got to be real careful to destroy all the mines, destroy all the big boys, destroy all the kegs before we kind of get ahead of ourselves. We'll see another corridor-based level in Zone 4. Grab the shutdown because I'm a little coward. But now we're in kind of the final section of Checkpoint here. It's now back to kind of standard arena style. Oh yeah, since I'm singing, I should probably keep you apprised of the incentive that's coming up for after the Infinity Drive run at midnight. If we get $2,000 in total donations by that time, I will quote-unquote sing. And sing is a strong term for what I do. But I will quote-unquote sing the Game Over theme to this game. It's fantastic. Did kind of a small rendition of it in one of our previous marathons, but I think it's due for a reprise. But only if we get 2,000 by that time, so get your donations in. So this is level 2 of Zone 3. This is Transit. We are on a train. And we will be about to be going very fast. Now the interesting part about this level is that the momentum physics affect our movement. So as soon as we start hitting some like real heavy corners, we will not be able to move very well unless I've got an accelerator or something, which I might pick up just for safety's sake. And also watch out for the lasers. You can hear them powering up there. I'm just gonna swap through. Ah, good. I'm glad I said swap because I almost forgot about a very key, oh, that was very dangerous. Very key mechanic here. When you're swapping weapons, or in general, anytime you are entirely white, you are invincible. So you get some invincibility whenever you swap weapons, both to and from your secondary. You get a healthy dose of invincibility when you pick up a shutdown. And you also get some invincibility when you get up from a knockdown. Which hopefully we won't see that last one, but you know, we still got a lot of run to go. So you'll probably see me swap weapons at some points when I probably shouldn't need to swap weapons, but that's me being panicky. So right there. Oh, see right there too. That's a good demonstration of the physics and the panic swap. Very good for staying out of trouble, and also very good for putting yourself into trouble. So one key thing about the secondary is that you have a limited use of it. For Aubergine, it's one and done. You get one shot and then you have to let it cool down for a bit. For other characters, you'll see a ring below, which will indicate like how much of it you can use, and it goes down. As soon as it hits empty, you'll see that orange ring there. As soon as it hits empty, it's ready to go. However, you can swap back and forth as long as you have about a quarter of that gauge set, except you won't have as much use of that secondary when you decide to pop it. All right, that was a pretty good transit. A nice casual S+ transit. We'll get to the scoring stuff a little bit later, since it's not really that important for the speedrun. So, here is one of my least favorite levels. This is Heat. You can see the flames in the middle of rotating around. That is a red flame, so that will damage enemies. However, it is much more likely to damage me. Just by virtue of, you know, things. But it can do some stuff for it. I'm going to hide in this corner for a bit. Thank you. And it will change directions as phases change. It'll turn on and off. It'll go super fast in a moment once we hit the next phase. I'll probably be panicking a bit there, because here come the mines. You want the mines? We got the mines. It wasn't a great mine phase. There was still one kind of popping around for a bit. And then we're back to normal for a bit. Flames turn off, give you a breather. But believe you me, those things will be blasted back on with a vengeance. I gotta make sure I'm not in the way of it. So there we go. We're good there. It should change position there, okay. Be a little careful, it should change position again. Now kind of the real bad part about it changing, oh, where's the last dude? There he is. Oh my goodness, is it will change direction on the phase change, so if I'm expecting it to change and then the phase changes right away, it'll just keep on trucking. And that's a bad time. Some good support from it for killing enemies for us, though. So that's... Thank you very much, Flames, for being very helpful. Mysteriously. Alright, that's Heat. Now, on to my absolutely least favorite level of the entire game. Well, maybe tied for least favorite. This is Revolution. And you know about those conveyor belts that we saw? We'd see a different variant of them? They come in circles now. And those are even less fun to predict, and even less fun to deal with. Oh, we are not doing so hot on the health there, so we'll let that go for a bit. So after a bit, your health does recharge, as long as you're not taking hits again. It's like 3 seconds or so. And that is the longest 3 seconds of your life sometimes, when you really need your health back. So we've got 2 different conveyor belts going, an inner circle and an outer circle. I wish I could just avoid them both, but unfortunately the setup of this level is such that we do not have that luxury. So yeah, see? There, I'm going against the flow like I always do. Keeps us from doing the business. But that's alright. They're pretty calm right now, and I'm probably going to grab and accelerate just to mitigate the problematic conveyor belts when it's on a good cycle, though. So these will start speeding up eventually, and then they'll start swapping at seemingly random, but there's no RNG, so it's not technically random. But they'll generally just be a pain in the butt throughout the entire level. I'm going to grab that accelerate there, please. Thank you. Excellent. Alright, so now it's less problematic, but still a pain. And with all these kind of walls shuffling around, I want to make sure that we're not trapping enemies behind them. That just wastes time. And also is a bit painful, especially when the wasp cans burst. So we got a couple new enemy types here. You've seen a couple of the turrets before. The red ones shoot red lasers, which can hurt stuff for us, but it can also hurt us. And we've also seen these new cans. They're full of bees! The worst pinatas ever. We will see another variant of that can later, which is not quite as bad as the wasp ones, I think, but everybody's got their own taste. We also saw, very briefly, some green floaty ones. Those are factories. And those shoot out homing-ish bullets. There's a few different variants of those. The big green ones we've seen are... actually, I'm not even sure their official name. I have some very bad names for them. Well, we'll just call them green factories. Orbitals, excuse me. Orbital factories are the big green ones. They shoot out bullets that rotate around them, or orbit, per their name. This is Zone 3 boss. This is Justice. Everybody say hello to Justice. And he's a big old bully, and we don't like him. So we're going to try to take him out as quick as we can. He's not too threatening, but he can catch you looking with those laser blasts in the first phase, so we're going to have to be a little careful. He also dropped those laser fences, which we took care of. They dropped items for us, but we won't have to see those until phase 3. So phase 2, he's shooting rockets. He's got these imposter helos around him. Our helo is the one true helo. Thank you. Thank you, Justice. And he's back to shooting us with lasers. and soon he will toss his head at us. He just gets so mad. And those heads explode rather violently. So we're gonna just lure that around, and bye-bye Justice. Not the fastest Justice I've ever had. There are some strats I can do that are more dangerous, but Marathon being Marathon. Sub 1 is pretty good still. So on the Zone 4, different aesthetic. We are now outside the ship. Still lots of metal, a bit rusty, a bit, you know, kind of hackneyed together. But this is one of the more transformative levels. So all these hexagonal panels will be swapping out. Not while we're standing on them, thankfully. Oh, wow, there's down number 1. Bye-bye the dream. So I just got popped real quick by a Titan, tossed his mine in my face. That'll happen. But now we see a new type of factory. This is a vector factory. They spawn the same types of bullets as orbitals, but instead they rush right towards me. Not that threatening. You can sidestep them pretty easily, but they can catch you looking. Just like any other enemy in this game. We also see the blue Fidos, the absolute worst Fidos. They're called Fetcher Fidos. They will tether you. Little blue beam, which will affect your movements, and they will drag you around the level. They don't attack you directly, but they are responsible for many a down, preventing you from moving as quickly as you possibly want to. So we'll be seeing a lot of those in Zone 5, and also a handful of them in Zone 4. But my strat here, and it's not the fastest strat in the world, is just kind of stay on the center and keep it open, so we've got some room to move. If I duff up the strat and we get some real bad panel placement, well, things will get a little bit more exciting. Let's kind of go around, finish up assembly here. This is one of the longer levels in the game. So if it starts to drag, oops, we missed the battery there. Those disappear after a moment. But thankfully, in a speedrun situation, speedrun setting, we really don't have to worry about missing too many battery drops. Although if things get real dicey, say on the Zone 4 boss, which we'll see shortly, I might have to make an extra special trip to go pick them up. But generally they pop in the pretty near vicinity, so I'll just sidestep and grab it just for safety's sake. And because I like shiny green things. Oops, that was a dumped up black hole. I figured a dude was going to drop there. That's alright. So besides Aubergine here, there are 8 other playable characters. Each has a different weapon set. We'll explore those in greater detail when we get to the 4-player Cactus run, I believe around 5 o'clock today. And that'll be a good old chaotic fun time mess. Pull some other folks in here for that. So here's the other corridor-based level. This is Relay. This is another one where we have to progress to the end, as well as kill all the robots. So we will do just that. And it falls away behind us. We want to try to make sure we don't lose any power-ups to that, just because losing power-ups loses time. But if we get really far ahead, or it's a bad power-up that we don't really care about, we won't make an extra special trip for it. Shut down. I really would have wanted a firepower there, but whatever. Can't always get what you want. There we go. There's a firepower. Alright, so now we're to the elevator. Up to the second part of the level. So here's some red flyers. These are turbo drones. They move quick. They fire 3 shots at once. And they're a general pain in the butt. But Aubergine is pretty handy at taking them out. Especially when the black hole kind of freezes into place like that. It's real nice. Good work, Aubergine. That dude spawned way over there. Got a mess of power-ups to use. We're gonna wait that one out. So typically on both this one and Checkpoint, the corridor-based level in Zone 3, you don't want to go too fast. So that can end up with some really odd enemy spawns. Enemies that spawn like way too far away from you. So we're gonna kind of moderate our speed just a little bit. Oh, there's down number 2. Big beefy blaster Titan gets us. We lost that power up too. Bummer. So we'll be seeing one more variant of the big beefy Titan boys. I believe first first one will be in Zone 5. So we got some time to kind of chill before we see those dudes. Now into the final section of Relay here. Another typical arena. Gotta deal with walls, and Doggo, please let me go. Just don't do that. I'm gonna take some probably safety items here because I do not want to deal with all this garbage at the center. Oh, there's also a white variant of the turrets. They just do a spray of bullets. We'll be seeing another variant of the blue laser, or the Maser turret, I guess is the official name. But since it's a blue laser, it can only hurt you, so those are priority 1 to destroy. So you generally wouldn't think, looking at this game, that this is really speed-runnable material since everything is deterministic and blah, blah, blah. But it's really execution-heavy. So working on your enemy spawn manipulation, moving around fast, destroying them in convenient and awesome locations, getting the right power-up mix, and timing all that stuff out. There is a lot of room to go fast. And slow. The other side of that coin. Oh, see, I tried to do a panic swap there. It did not work. There's down number 3. And missed the battery. All right, well, we'll be a little bit more aware of our batteries this time. There we go. Okay. So this is Focus. We missed the first phase before, but you can kind of see down below another little panel that we're going to drop onto. And this is the first one with that blue fire turret in there. I don't know how they managed to get fired. It only hurt me. I mean, good work, I guess. But we are going to avoid that. We do not want to get any toastier than we already are. Wow! The snipe! So here's another new enemy type, the Reapers. This is the red variant. They shoot lasers. After a short break, they kind of outline it. I was trying to avoid that one before, but I did not see it early enough. That's all right. We'll be seeing plenty more of those later on. Wow, that's number 4. That keg got up 5. Shoot. Shoot. That's all right. That's okay. That's fine. Only 5 per down, so we're only up to 25. Only 5 per down, yes. That'd be a bad news if I did 10 per down, my goodness. I know it's for a good cause and all, but I do need to eat. So here we are on the bottom floor of Focus here. The widest one, the most room to maneuver, and also the most pillars to get in our way, and we still got that blue flame boy in the middle. Alright, well that was kind of a trash fire of a Focus. 3 downs just in that. That's right though. Alright, so on to the final regular level of Zone 4. This is Repeater. One of the more dynamic levels. You'll see it deconstruct and reconstruct in front of us. We're going to try to manage that as best we can. And thankfully, it's kind enough to us that it will never deconstruct under a power-up or a battery. Or an enemy, if they are ground-based. But that can also lead to some very interesting situations, because there are a limited number of panels it can use. And if you go far enough and fast enough, you will end up on a very narrow strip of ground. There's a big boy over there. What are you doing over there, big boy? Shouldn't get caught behind there. And now we see the final type of factory. These are tendril factories. Oh my goodness, that's a mine phase that I forgot about. But the tendril factories are like the other factories, except they spawn normal blue bullets, which disappear as soon as you destroy them. So probably a little bit less problematic than the other factories, but they can still get you. Oh, mine phase 2. There we go. That's number 6, I think. Alright, so kind of the ironic part about those mine phases is that my split for this level is named Remember the Mines. I do not remember the mines very often. That's a pretty good wasp units. More tendril factories, more blue doggos, more drones, more zappy boys. And there's the second variant of the can, the mine can. You thought wasps in a pinata were a bad idea. Here come the mines. Something to note about the mines is that they are very much physics-based, so they can bounce off each other and other enemies and get jumped around. And usually in a mine can, there is at least one hero mine that decides today is his day. He will just sky right towards your face, so we want to be careful of those hero mines. Just clean up on repeater here. Be real impressed if we get away with only one down here. Enemies, please. Okay. That's an alright repeater. Go team. Alright, on to the boss of Zone 4. Everyone would say hello to Venom. Actually, no, don't say hello to Venom. We don't want to say hello to Venom. Venom can go away. It's a big old spider, so if you have the arachnophobia, please look away. We'll start off with a couple, or actually just this single orbiting gun. Oh, jeez. And we're on to turret phase 1. 4 turrets right in a line. If we had a different character, this would be easy peasy. But unfortunately, Aubergine is not the greatest for Venom. I grab this red. And now on to drill 1. That's a lot of bullets, Venom. What are you doing? Don't do that. But this one's pretty easy. No big deal. Battery's gone. Whatever. We don't need battery. We're good. And now, 2 of these big turret boys on the outside. That one doing the machine gun spray, this one doing the big fat bullets. These are one-hit KO bullets, so we're going to be careful. And almost immediately not be careful, as soon as I said so. So this is turret phase 2, and I wish that was a blue. But now, 8 turrets. Cardinal-ish directions. Whoa, wow, I just shotgunned right into that. I lost count, so I'm going to rely on the rest of you. 7, okay. Okie dokie. I really want that blue for drill 2. That's not going to happen. We'll get this one instead. I'm a big old coward when it comes to drill 2 because that is a lot of bullets very quickly. We're just going to back off. Need to get shotgunned again. And we probably should have grabbed that battery. We'll get this one instead. Grab that. So now here's the butt phase. Phase 7. We're going to back that off a little bit. I'm a little scared. And we're going to go in for it. All right, and then the final phase. He is missing all his legs and his entire butt. So poor Venom. Feel sorry for him if you'd like, but I do not. Bye-bye, Venom. You were not that unkind to us. 203 is not great. But whatever. Now on to Zone 5. We're in the command center of the ship now. Lots of polished metal. Lots of spinny and altering surfaces. This is Centrifuge. So I like to call it Clintrifuge. These things will be literally popping out the walls. Now there is a very small chance of a soft lock in this level, which we will have to try to avoid. Which I encountered for the very first time 2 weeks ago. But I'm pretty sure everybody was aware of it. If we hit a shutdown at the right time as stuff is coming out the walls, an enemy can get stuck behind there, and we can't get to it. And then we'll have to restart the level. My goodness, that hero mine tried really hard. There's always one in the batch. So we get lots of boys. Here's our first look at the red Fidos, the big Jumbo Fidos. They shoot a barrage of missiles. They are generally bad news. Fortunately, those missiles are red damage, so they will do some work for us if we are good and proper at this game. And then a lot of Fetcher Fidos. Please go away. And due to the sheer volume of enemies on this level, we are going to see a lot of power-ups. So you just hear a lot of Aubergine talking. Which is fine and good. The voice acting in this game is top-notch. Every android has a different personality. The bosses have personalities. It's just fantastic from start to finish. Props to Witchbeam, the developers of this game. Oh, that hero mine almost got me. Almost caught me looking. Oh, boy. Gave me a little fright there.
Firepower extended. Accelerate. Firepower extended.
So we're probably going to be a bit cowardly and grab some blues, even at the risk of that soft lock.
Firepower extended.
A lot of big beefy boys. They are having none of my business today.
Shut down.
Oh, I think I got popped by a mine there. Good work. That's number 8. Oh, that was a very dangerous swap too. Almost was a straight up 9 right there.
Go team.
That's Centrifuge. Bye-bye, Centrifuge. Up next is Control. This is one of the most interesting levels. So on the 3 corners, if you could call it that, we have these 3 activatable things. This one down on the bottom is a machine gun, by far the most useful. So we'll just stick them down around here. Up in the top left is a plasma shield, which we will not see, because the plasma is not great. And up on the top right is a big missile launcher, which we might see if I feel like going over there. Or if I need to escape some real bad stuff down here. But generally speaking, we will wait down here for this one to recharge, pop it as soon as we can, and then just go around and killing stuff, as is our MO for the entire run. So in this level, we'll be seeing the first of the blue variants of Titans. Those big beefy boys called Buster Titans. If we're lucky, we won't see their attack, but I don't think we'll be very lucky, so we will definitely see their attack. They tried to jump at you and smash you into the ground. That guy didn't get a chance. Wow, rip him. And more mine cans. And this is getting a little sketchy. So, whoa, we're going to take a smash into the ground there. That's a clean 9 right now? Okay. Wasn't sure if we had hit double digits just yet. But lots of mine cans, lots of blaster, no, not blaster, lots of Buster Titans, the big blue beefy boys. Some laser snipers there. They can go away, like immediately, please. Oh, and a lot of turbo drones that have impeccably good aim. Or I'm just bad at dodging. Probably both. Oh, see, now they are trying. So we're going to pop a blue here, because we are not dealing with that business. Try to manage these dudes' placements here. It's a little bit tough when they spawn on opposite ends. Especially when the big beefy ones spawn on opposite ends. Then you gotta go chase them down. That was Control. By Control. Up next is Convection. And oh boy, you can't stand the heat, yada yada yada. So, those little red circles on the bottom, those are flame jets. Since they are red, they will do damage for us. However, they will also do damage to us. So we're gonna spend as little time on those as possible. However, I might make a couple cuts across them just to be dangerous and to escape other nastier things. We also see the first look at the blue variant of Reapers. They shoot bullet spreads and teleport around. We generally want to take care of that business as soon as we can, so we're not dealing with a bullet hell situation. More blue beefy boys, more drones, and I should get out of that corner. Nothing good comes of being in the corner. So this is by far the longest of normal levels, but once you get into a good flow of it, the time will just fly right on by. A lot of people do not like this level, and you know, I can understand it. It's actually one of my favorites. Oh, that was a not great time swap, but we kind of backed off, so that's good. So I was going to swap right through that laser, but apparently my hands had other ideas. Grab a blue. So the power-ups will cycle on the field in 5-second increments. And when they're not on the field, they will cycle in 1-second increments. So you can kind of control the power-up cycles that way. And there will always only be a maximum of 3 power-ups on the field at once. Oh, that's dicey. Made it through. Oh, didn't necessarily want that, but okay. However, if there are 3 power-ups on the field at once and you are due for another one, it won't disappear. It'll just queue up. So the next time you grab a power-up, and on the next kill, it'll pretty much spawn another one right away in whatever cycle it happens to be. That's not necessarily important in the campaign run, but when we get to Infinity Drive, that'll be very, very important.
Firepower extended.
So as this is ostensibly an arcade game, score is pretty interesting. So we get points for killing robots. That's the most basic, and I almost went right into that rocket. Way to go. So you get points for destroying robots. You also get a chain up in the top left there. That will top out at 10x. However, oh, that was spicy too. Oh my goodness, why am I making so many spicy moves? That's not good. However, you can get what is called a surge. And a surge happens when you kill 2 or more enemies within, I want to say about maybe a 1/10 of a second of each other. It's probably frame-based. But it will briefly bump up to 15x the base score of whatever you just killed. That's the primary way to bump up your score. However, you do get more score for more speed at the end. That was a 3-minute convection. Not great. But we'll put a pin in the score thing and talk about this level. This is Collider. Hi, Licorice. Bye, Licorice. We'll be seeing more of her later. Not willingly, but, you know, that's how it goes. Whoa, that was a spicy dodge. So, this is the second last level of the game. Second last level is Zone 5. And it's a mess. It is a real big mess. It's a nice plain old circle with some pillars or whatever. But the enemy waves are now getting into, yeah, haha territory. Good luck. So this first half of the level is pretty standard. Kill all the robots to continue. Ooh, dicey. Grab this, accelerate. And say hello to the only blue laser turret. Bye, blue laser turret. Thanks for playing. But that was a blue laser, so that would have only hit me. So glad to have taken care of that little issue right away. Getting close to the end of the first half of this level, which things will then change up rather significantly. Get myself stacked up as much as we can. So ideally, we want to start the first or the second phase with a strong accelerate because we are now fighting Licorice. Licorice is one of the playable characters that, spoiler alert, you unlock at the end of the game after finishing a run through campaign. And she operates on the same principles that we do. She has a battery meter now on the bottom. And our win condition, oh wow, she almost got that one for me. Our win condition is to drain her battery. And the only way to do that is to keep the batteries away from her. So we will be doing our best. I might just take a couple downs in order to get the oh my goodness, there's one for her. So if I need to play real dangerous to keep those batteries away from her, I'll do it. Oh, that was really spicy too. So, as long as we manage the enemies properly, we won't have a problem. It's unfortunate that she got a battery, because that adds another 20-25 seconds to the length of this fight. And you do not want to be fighting this any longer than you have to. We'll take that for safety. Oh, I'm still invincible from that, huh? Well done. So, we really want to manage her, and I'll just get her to shoot at me instead of the enemies instead. And hopefully not pop another battery right in her face. Oh, that was so close. So bye-bye, Licorice. I've got many more choice words for you later on, but for now, we'll say bye-bye. That was Collider. All right, so a 1-battery Licorice fight isn't bad. Ideally, it's 0, but ideals. So hello to final boss. This is Medusa. This is a 7-phase fight. Dealing with a lot of bullet hell stuff, a lot of dipping and diving and ducking and dodging, a lot of swaps in and out. But there will also be a pseudo boss rush because every even phase we will fight a boss we have faced before. I was gonna try to do that, but never mind. So hello to Embryo again. Thankfully we only fight the last phases. I'm gonna wait for this to be a red, which is super dangerous, but whatever. Oh, that's a dicey move. What are you doing, man? Get up in there. There we go. Okay, so I kind of fudged up the Embryo fight there. That's alright, so bye-bye Embryo refight. Now we're on to another orbiting bullet phase. Which this one's typically a bunch easier since your weapon is powered up and you've got some firepower. Oh, Vespi, I really don't like you the second time around either. Oh, it's a spicy dodge. Alright, ideally I want that to be a red. Oh, we got hit by a flower. Still we'll grab the red. benefits and drawbacks. Bye-bye, Vespi refight. That wasn't very kind of you. Now we're on to another bullet phase. These are the big, thick bullet boys. So, ooh, I don't know why I did that. So these are pretty much one-hit KOs. We don't have to worry about them no more. And I want that red, but he is parking his butt over it, so avoid that, dodge through, and probably grab the blue for safety. I'm gonna pop that one so we get another power up here. And bye-bye, Justice Refi, please, thank you. And hello, Medusa herself. I'm gonna wait for, oh, laser, wow, why? So watch out for lasers. And also watch out for these other spawns that are gonna try to wreck my day. We will have a pretty good final phase here. And look at that, we're done. We might be done. Who knows if we're done? We have to be done, right? It's dead. It's dead for sure. Oh no! Oh no, who would have known there would be a secret 8th phase? So welcome to the Ether Sphere. We get no battery drops here, so what we got up there is what we have to deal with. Thankfully, it's not really that tough, but it can still catch you unawares if you're not ready for it. Case in point, the first time I ran through this game, I set down my controller after the Medusa fight, thinking, yeah, we did it, boys! And then this popped up, like, oh no, controller, come back. Doing pretty well here. I'm gonna try to spice that around. Oh no, one of the cubes got me. I think we're up to 11s now. 12? Oh boy. Not as bad as I was expecting, so that's pretty good. All right, that's seriously it. Time will be when I click off the results screen here. Bye-bye, Medusa. We'll be seeing more of you later. And time. Dare I ask what the damage is? 51-14?
For the safety of everyone on board.
I was hoping for a sub 50, but with Aubergine, yes, thank you, Aubergine, thank you. I was hoping for a sub 50, but in a marathon setting, like sub 52 is still pretty good. And 12 downs. So that's $60 from me. We'll be doing the same sort of challenge for the other 2 Cactus runs as well. For the 4P one, I'm only counting my downs. I'm not carrying everybody else's downs. And then the same for the Infinity Drive early tomorrow morning. So that's the Salt Android Cactus 1P campaign run. I cannot recommend this game enough as a speed game and even just as a casual game. It's really fantastic. The runs themselves run, 48 to 55 minutes. Really quick, not too long. You can get through a decent number of them. And there's always room for improvement. And we've got a great community for it as well. All right, with that, we're going to move on to the next in our PC block, which I believe is Dead Core. So stay tuned for that. Take a couple minutes to set up.